Hi everybody, it's Martin. Welcome back. It's video 9, and this actually is the third video from our trip to the Isle of Skye and around the area of Easdale Island. Now I thought I'd put this together. I was going to include it in video 2, and I decided to make a third video because there's a running theme here. We visited 3 castles. I actually think they're all quite different, so I just thought I'd do a little kind of shorter video just covering these 3 castles and the different visiting experience that we had with them all. Now I don't want to suggest that I had a favourite out of the 3 castles, but the first one, Gylen Castle, I think in reality is my favourite. And what I mean by that is it's the location, it's everything to do with it. It's on the Isle of Carnasserie, which is just off the coast beside Oban. It's ever so easy to get to. You take this tiny ferry, I think it runs kind of every half an hour through the day. You park up by the side of the causeway. It's foot passengers only. On the island, it's largely gravel roads. I would say there is no traffic. Anybody who's been there will know there are cars, but it's not like we would know cars. It's kind of 1 an hour. It's silent most of the time with these spectacular views. And after a walk of maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half, you find yourself at this gorgeous castle. It was built in 1582 by the Clan MacDougall, who will come up again in this video. They must have been a clan to behold in the 15 and 1600s. And I've got to say, I loved everything about this. Okay, there isn't much of a castle there. You can't go up it. You can walk in. I think you'll see some people at the bottom of it when we get overhead. So there is an entrance at the bottom. You can go in and look up. You can't really walk around it because, as you can see, it's on this sort of sticking out crop of rock, and there really isn't a way around it. So you can't pretend that it's a brilliant place to visit, but the location itself is quite spectacular, which amazes me when you hear that the castle was besieged in 1647. Now, if I try and do some quick maths, that's about 65 years, I think, that this was under the MacDougalls, and then it was besieged and burnt out by General Leslie in 1647 during something called the Wars of the Three Kingdoms. So I'm not going to try and suggest that this is the most spectacular castle you'll ever see, but as I say, it was my favourite by a long way, and it's because of the location, the setting. Carnasserie is so beautiful. It's almost silent because of the lack of traffic. The walk is amazing. And then if you find the walk a bit of a challenge, about 2/3 of the way there is the Carnasserie Tea Gardens and Bunkhouse. I'm going to mark it off in a moment. It's just visible. It's open every day as I record this. I'm not sure about winter, from 11 till 4 for tea, coffee, cake, sandwiches, that kind of thing. It's a really lovely place to stop before you make your way back to the ferry. Castle 2 is a much more complete prospect. It's a completely different situation. Now it's just north of Oban, and maybe a 15-minute drive. We parked at Caravan Sands. You can see this quite large car park, and it's a really nice walk, maybe half an hour, a couple of miles. But there is parking if you don't want to walk. There is parking at the castle, quite ample parking, and it is free if you're visiting the castle. As you can see, as I said, it's a much more complete proposition. What I find interesting is this one looks quite a bit more civilised, and yet it was built nearly 400 years earlier than the previous castle. It was built in 1220 by the Clan MacDougall, and it was taken over by the Scottish royal family in 1309. And I can only assume that a lot of these, as I say, what look like more civilised buildings, I can only assume that they came a lot later. Maybe the royal family built those within the grounds of this fairly crude castle. So I haven't attempted to name this one yet. It is, according to Google, don't hate me, Dunstaffnage. You could see the spelling on the map just at the start of this section. But yeah, Dunstaffnage, as I say, 15-minute drive just north of Oban. Really, really lovely castle, but not particularly my cup of tea. A bit too upkept. And that brings us to the middle ground, really. Carnasserie Castle, built by not the McDougalls. I don't want to worry anybody, but this was built by John Carswell. So this was built in 1565, so again, a little bit newer than the other two, and you can tell it's a much more contemporary structure, as you can see, but still a castle. And what I really love about it is it's free to get in, which again, I know makes me sound really tight. I don't mean that I love that it's free to get in, but you can get in. It's just on the side of the road. We found it purely by accident by one of those brown signs, and we looked to our left and there was this castle. It's free to get in, and as you can see, you can access a lot of this castle. You can make your way right to the top in more than one path. More than one turret will take you to the top for quite phenomenal views over the valley. And as I said, it's a bit of a middle ground. There isn't much to it. It is a ruin, and yet, as you can see here, it's very easy to work out what you're looking at. You're looking at a fireplace on the ground floor. There's a well in the basement. You can figure out what you are looking at, and you are free to move around. And I think it's all the better for that. It's not too fussy, but at the same time, it's not just a single thing that you can't really do anything in. It is just off the A816, maybe, I don't know, an hour south of Oban. The A816 is the main road, I guess, between Oban and Campbelltown in Southend, and I'm sure that's probably why they built the castle here. And just to kind of set the scene, you pull off the main road and there is a car park quite soon as you pull off the main road. Now the castle, like all good castles, is set high up on a hill, so it isn't a long walk. It's less than 5 minutes from the car park to the castle itself, but it's a steep walk. Be prepared. It's a gravel path. It's a perfectly good path, but it is quite a steep path. It's quite a trudge. Obviously, getting back to the car afterwards is nice and easy, but that initial walk up there, once you're up there, the ground around the castle is perfectly flat, but getting to it is a little bit of a trudge. And for those of us who live in England in 2025, the bit I love the most was it's surrounded by the colour green. It's just a sea of beauty and this green valley. So I'll leave you there with these rather wonderful views from the top of Carnasserie Castle. As I say, it's 3 castles that we visited, 3 of however many dozens and dozens of castles in this area surrounding Oban in Argyll. Absolutely stunning. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope to get back soon and maybe visit some more. But thank you for watching, and I hope to be back soon with another video.